My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down my favorite UnderDog Fantasy entry for UFC 292. If you don't know what UnderDog Fantasy is, it's daily fantasy. You just come in here, say higher or lower than the numbers you see on the screen, and you can 20 times your money. It is the highest payout in daily fantasy prop games. 20 times your money. $10 gets you $200. Just go to wewantpicks.com/underdog, use promo code WWP, and they will instantly match your deposit. That means they will give you free money. If you give them $10, they'll give you $10. If you give them $100, they'll give you $100. Take that very, very free money and build yourself an entry. I'm going to walk through my favorite 4 plays here. I did 2 different entries at 2 different times. You can build one big entry with all 4. You can do just 3. You can do just 2. I'm going to walk you through my favorite 4 lines here. So if we look at Aljamain Sterling, the higher than 69.5 significant strikes is actually probably pretty solid. I didn't touch it. You can get 62.5 at Prize Picks, but over 69.5 is probably good. If you go through his fight history, he's getting to that number. He's getting past that number, especially in fights that go a little longer, which I think this will, but I'm going to leave that alone. Wei Li's another interesting one. I don't know if she's going to win by knockout, so I actually think the under knockout is solid. And you can see here that Underdog has added fight time minutes. This fight may go a little longer as well, so the over 12 minutes for her might be solid, but I'm not going to go ahead and use that. I do like the higher than 57.5 significant strikes for Ian Gary. Ian Gary does put up some numbers. His last fight with Daniel Rodriguez, which ended by knockout in the first round, he got to 23. The fight before that, 127. Before that, 116. Before that, 74. So he's cruising past this number. He's fighting Neil Magny. Neil Magny's tough. Neil Magny's not the type of guy you're going to hit him twice. He's going to disappear. So I think Ian Gary gets past that number. Then if we scroll our way down, the other one I like here is Gregory Rodriguez over 1 takedown. Now, the criticism of him is that he doesn't use his wrestling as much as he should. But he does have takedowns, if not multiple takedowns, in pretty much every fight he's ever been in. He's just coming off a wild knockout loss. The dude was unconscious, asleep on the floor. He's fighting another guy that has that same power and can strike. I would like to think that Gregory Rodriguez is going to be like, maybe I should shoot a takedown. We just need 2 takedowns. If we get 1, it's a push. If we get 2, we win. That's what I like for the pick'ems. What we're going to do now is look at Rivals. If you click on Rivals here on the left, what Rivals does is it takes the matchup and you just say more or less for that matchup. For example, significant strikes. Who is going to get more significant strikes? Sean O'Malley or Aljamain Sterling? That's it. Just select who you think is going to get more. If we look at takedowns, who's going to get more? Sean O'Malley or Aljamain? The obvious answer is Aljamain. So they gave Sean O'Malley 3 just to start. So there's 2 of these that I like here. We're going to work our way down. I like the significant strikes Pedro Munoz, and they're -7.5. Basically, they're going to give Chito Vera 7.5 to start. And I think Pedro Munoz will land more than Chito Vera, even with Chito starting with 7.5. And the reality is Pedro Munoz is a high volume guy, and Chito Vera is I don't want to necessarily say low volume guy, but people touch that dude up. Chito Vera has been outstruck in pretty much every single one of his fights, volume-wise. People absolutely land more strikes on him than he lands on them. And because of that, I like Pedro Munoz here. He does have a 7.5 handicap, but I think he will get past that. If we scroll our way down, where are you at? Andrea Lee. Andrea Lee is the other one that I like. They're giving her 20.5 significant strikes. That is so many significant strikes. I do think Natalia Silva wins this fight. I think she'll pretty much control this fight. I think it'll be a dominant performance. But Andrea Lee is a high-volume striker. She will land strikes. For Natalia Silva to land 20.5 more, I mean, that's a giant gap. I don't know if I've seen a gap that wide. There's certainly not another one on this card. So I like that as well. So here are the 4 entries that I like, or 4 lines that I like. You can mix and match any way that you choose. I did the Rivals, and then I did the other 2 on their own, but that's because that's how they dropped. You're watching this video when they're all available. Ian Gary over 57.5 significant strikes, as he's done in pretty much every fight. Gregory Rodriguez over 1 takedown, as he has done in pretty much every fight. Pedro Munoz in Rivals -7.5 significant strikes. I still think that hits. And then Andrea Lee 20.5 significant strikes. I'm actually just going to play this again. So I'm going to double down on all my entries. I'll just throw $10 at it because I've already done it. If we do standard, this is a 10x payout because we only do 4. If you add 1 to this, it's a 20x payout. But we'll go ahead. We'll do the insured option. 4 of these correct are $60. If I do 3 correct, I'm still going to 1.5 times my money. We're going to lock that in, guys. WeWantPicks.com/underdog. That promo code is WWP. They will instantly match your deposit. Take that very free money and build your own entry.